Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome to today's episode. If you are new here, please do what to subscribe so that anytime a new video is posted, you'll be the first to get notified. Okay, so I believe we are learning some things from the internet, and I believe you're also taking note of the things I'm putting across. If you have not watched my previous videos, please do well to take a look and watch those contents. It will help you to understand more of our conversation as I bring them to you. Alright, so let's get into it. Alright, so today the main goal of our discussion is to know the mindset that the people of a nation must have in order to boost their development. So today's topic is about mindset. And I believe mentality or the brain is the primary engine that guides every human being where he or she is heading towards. The brain is the primary engine that tells you what to do, what not to do. The brain tells you, or the brain is able to bring out your ability. The things you can do all come from brain. So the brain master, the brain is very important when it comes to people and life as a whole. So if you want to build a better country, then you have to focus on our brain, what we are thinking, what everybody is thinking, and the impact it's having on our society. Okay, so tonight I have 12 things or 12 major points that we have to consider if we want to build a great mindset. Okay, so as I explained earlier on, that you can have your resources as a country, you can have the things that have been put in place by the government to run these things. But if you don't have the right mindset, it's very difficult to put these things to work and to be able to yield the results from these things. Okay, so let's get into it. Now the first one is to have the can-do spirit. So point one, the can-do spirit. So as the point explains, to have that zeal that I will be able to do, to have that enthusiasm that I can do this or we can do this. When it comes together as a nation, even though there are difficulties, even though it's difficult, they have in mind, we have that zeal that it's possible to do it. So fast we get to it, we can do it. Okay, so as we all know, the universe is held by forces. Okay, there are forces that holds the universe, and before every organism is able to make change in the society, they apply a force to overcome a force. Before you are able to walk as a human being, you apply a force using your muscles to overcome the force of gravity holding you to the ground. See, before a car is able to move, a force must be applied by the engine running. the engine forces the car to move. So a force is supposed to overcome another force for things to take place. So in other words, if we want to thrive or do anything, we must first of all see it as an obstacle, but we need a force to break through or overcome. Okay, so when you have the can-do spirit, it forces you to move and overcome certain forces that in a normal circumstance you wouldn't be in the position to overcome. Right? And then we go to point 2, selflessness. Selflessness. So oneself is you, your interest. A person's interest is the person's self. Okay, everything that has to do with one person or you. So self. But in this point, we want to make ourselves less. So it means that we shouldn't think about only ourselves. When you are doing things for the benefit of the nation, then let's take our self-interests out. So selflessness. When something is happening and it's going to benefit only you, but it's going to be a hindrance or a disadvantage to someone else, then you should think twice before doing it. See, to be able to put yourself or put your life on a line for others. So don't think about your own interests. You think about the survival of the others. You think about the well-being of the others. And if each person in the country is having this mindset, believe me, that means we are going somewhere. And if you can recall, or you can look back into history, every great leader that have been in the system was having that quality of selflessness, because he or she doesn't think about only his gains or her gains, but the benefit and the improvement of the people. So when you're in your homes and your neighborhood and you possess this ability or you possess this thoughts, it will transcend up to the highest authority, to transcend up to the entire community, to transcend up to the entire nation. Okay, it's very, very important. So let me take you to point 3. Environmental and global awareness. Every citizen of a country must be aware of his or her environment. You see, knowing where you are, the things that surrounds you, will be able to guide you on what steps to take, to be able to guide you on what to do at what point in time, to be able to guide you on the things you need to survive. So self-awareness in our environment. So we have to be able to take note of the challenges that are surrounding us. We have to be able to take note of the resources that are around us. We have to be able to take note of the properties that we have. We have to be able to take note of our chances of survival at where we are. So environmental awareness. We have mineral resources somewhere, we have human resources somewhere, we have water bodies somewhere. That's our environment. Okay, and then from the environment we look at outside the box. So we look at our global awareness. what is going on in other countries as compared to us. What is going on in other nations, comparing it to where we are. What are the nations really doing? What is the aim? Or what is every nation fighting for? You have to be aware. Okay? You have to be aware of what every nation is fighting for. And that's going to give you the direction you need to take. So in this case, every nation is fighting for their citizens. Every nation is fighting for storage or reserves. Every nation thinks that they don't need to use their entire resources, but they want to depend on other countries' resources, whilst they keep theirs as reserves, because they are thinking of what if the resources on the earth gets depleted. How are you going to survive? So they are reserving theirs, and then they are pulling in from outside their territories. So it's a smart way of living, because they are aware of the environment. They are aware that no, if we need to have continuous power, if we need to have continuous energy, then we need continuous supply of these resources. And if we don't want to go into a bad or sad situation, then we have to keep ours for a future use. So they are using their brain, see, because they are aware of the environment. So if we are here and we are just extracting our resources and then selling to them or selling it for them to use, because we are not aware of the environment, we are not aware that these things might be of use to us. We are not aware that these things in the near future might get depleted. We are not aware that other nations are planning and plotting against us. And that's what we have to be aware of. And it's going to help us in our mindset about how to build a nation, the direction to take it. Okay, there we go to point 4. So point 4 is mentality over nationality. Mentality over what? Nationality. So I put the nationality in quotes. The nationality can be your tribe, it can be your color, it can be your culture, and it can be your religion. Again, it can be your tribe, it can be your color, it can be your culture, and it can also be what? Your religion. That is, I put in quotes as what? The nationality. So what am I trying to say? It means that we should choose a way of thinking over where we come from, irrespective of your background, irrespective of your home, irrespective of your place of worship, irrespective of how you look like. Everybody's mentality should be geared towards national development. You don't have to discriminate. See, you don't have to look down upon others, because we have to all see ourselves as one people. The best way to retard a people's progress is to divide them. That's the best way to retard a people's what? Progress. And the best way to overcome that is to have one mentality. So Ghanaians and Africans, let's all come together in a single mind that we are one people with one color, we are one people with one purpose. So if someone is dark or fair or speaks a different language, the person is an African, the mentality is what is important. That person going there is my brother. What is going on here is wrong. What's going on here is right. Let us uplift this. Let us uphold this. This is the mentality. And not, oh, this person is from here, I can't work with you. Oh, this person believes in this, I can't work with you. No. You're not from my hometown, so I don't know you. That is not the best way to develop a country. Right? Okay. So we go to point 5. And that is national interest over parties' interest. You see, we have political parties in Ghana, and it's so sad to say that when you go to our schools, we're not really educated on politics. We're not really educated on our democratic rights. And so we go to school and learn all sort of different things, but the political awareness escapes us more of the time. They don't teach us how to rationalize and think that these parties are there for the national development or the nation's interest. But we are being made to think that you belong to a party and the party you belong to is the final. So we end up being trained to think for political parties instead of the nation. Oh, I was born in party AA house, so I belong to party A. So when you were a kid, you were a party A. You grew up 18 years. And you can remember, oh, my father was in the party A, so let me join the party A. You are joining without knowing why you are joining. And so when the party says, let's do this, and the party's actions are going contrary to the national interests or the party's plans, don't serve people for the betterment, because you are having a party interest, you still follow the party anyway. And that's a mentality we have to abolish. Okay, so in other words, you can see that people are worshiping their party at the expense of the nation's good. So if you want our nation to develop and then grow and be transformed, we have to say that no, we don't have to worship people in their parties. So the right way of democracy must be introduced to us as we are growing up, so that before you turn to 18 years, you wouldn't say, oh, because this party has been famous all these years, let me go and vote for them because they are famous. Or because, oh, my uncle is in this party, so let me vote for them, for this party. It's not healthy to us as a nation. So let's choose the nation's interest by what? Party's interest. Point 6. And this is a very important one. Also about what? Self. And that is self what? Dignity. So when you say dignity, what does it mean? It means the ability to uphold your moral rights, okay, or your prestige and self-esteem as a person. It means you don't have to sell your soul or trade your soul for anything else. So look at this practice that goes on in the country, especially Ghana. When it is time for elections, you see political parties and their leaders going about spraying money on people or giving money to people to go and vote for them. And what do you think they are doing? They are buying votes. And if the nationalists do not have a self-dignified mentality, they are going to fall for this trap, because you are going to trade your soul for somebody's vote. And look at this: when you vote for this person because you took their money, you can't go and hold them accountable because they've already paid you for the vote. So it applies to our work duties. When you're going for employment, some will tell you to pay this amount of money before you can be employed. So the employer is also selling his dignity for you. See, that's a different level of corruption, and let's do our best to abolish that. And you know, you can decide to take money today and vote for somebody, but mind you, the money you give to the person, the money the person is giving you, that person will come back and take the money in multiple folds, and you begin to complain that the economy is hard and things are going high, things are soaring high. It's because you didn't elect them on the right basis. They have to go and look for money elsewhere and come and pay you for you to vote for them. So they have to find a way to take the money back. I get the point. So please, let's take our self-dignity seriously. Now we go to point 7. That's also self-accountability. Self-accountability. Okay, so before you can find somebody that someone should be accountable to you, you must also be accountable to yourself. You must check yourself whether you are in the right position to ask for accountability from somewhere. Okay, so if you wake up in the morning and you litter your environment, then you're not being self-accountable to yourself, because if the nation should be clean enough, you have to clean your home. If you are having employees under you and they are working for you and you are not paying them their desired wages, but you expect the government to reduce taxes for you. See, so if you're not accountable to yourself, you can't hold somebody accountable. So let's learn how to be accountable by looking for the right dividends of things. And it has to do with figures. Figures are very important. You see, you have to be recordable. You have to be able to take into account your actions, your past actions, your current actions. You have to be able to what? Take note of all those things and know where you stand as a person. You have to be able to know whether you really deserve to be at the point you are, or your actions or the things you are doing is not enough to gear you towards where you are going. And that's self-accountability. And if you have this mindset, believe me, it's going to trend over to the highest person in authority, who's also going to be accountable to you. See, so everything comes from within. From you, it goes out. The energy transcends. Is that right? So that takes us to point 8. So this is very interesting. Now, the 8th point says, living in line with national goals. Living in line with national goals. So let's first ask ourselves, does our nation have a goal? If the nation have a goal, then the attitude of the people, the way of life of the people, the actions of the people must be tuned in line with the goals that have been set by the country. So if there is a 50-year plan that has been set, which I know currently our nation doesn't have, because we are in a system where our parties don't plan for the nation. But in case we have a national plan, then the way of life of the people must be geared towards that plan. See, if you want to have an urban city or a modernized city, it means that you should get rid of what? Slums. You should get rid of structures that are not in good positions. So it means that whenever the people want to build houses or whenever they want to construct roads, they have to see to it that where they are building it has been planned according to how the national plan is. You see, they have to be able to see that, okay, this path, is it a right way to build? This building I'm putting up here, is it for the future, or I'm just building a temporary structure which will be taken down anytime soon? Okay, so our doings and our plans must go according to how the nation is transcending. If the nation wants to have the cleanest city in the next 10 years, then when you are making refuse, you have to know that how to get a dustbin to put the refuse in. Okay, so how the saying goes, we are the government. The government is not just someone you have appointed. No, we are the government, but we are appointing a leader over us as the government. So we can't take ourselves out from the governance. So if the city needs to be clean, you and I are part of those who are supposed to ensure that the city is clean. So you don't have to drink pure water and throw it somewhere and expect someone else to come and pick it, because you should also be part of the national plan. When you don't do it, then the next person doesn't do it. The next person doesn't do it, then no one will do it. Okay, so point 9. Point 9 is a willingness to improve. So every person, when you assess your lifestyle, you have to be able to detect your level, your abilities, your goals, and you have to be able to set a goal for yourself that you want to improve your best. So irrespective of your level, whether you see yourself as forward going, you are doing very well in your endeavors. If you are learning or you're a student, you are doing very good at school. If you are a worker, an employed worker, you are doing very well at work. If you are a businessman, you are doing very well in the business. Yet still, you have that personal drive, the self-drive to improve on your current level in which you find yourself. Okay, and when you do that as a person, it's going to have effects on your economy. It's going to have effects on your nation. You are going to be a valuable asset to your nation. You are going to add value to your nation. Okay, so improve on yourself, add value to yourself, and be of service and of good use to others. It goes a long way to help the country develop. And we go to point 10. That is a competitive mindset. Okay. Now, it occurs to me that in Africa, I will give my country an example, and that is Ghana. We tend to live as if we are isolated from the world. We live as if we are in isolation, as if we are not part of the globe, because we don't think people are racing with us. Think, oh, where we are, oh, we are okay. We have our control to eat. We are okay. We have 1 or 2 mud houses to sleep in, so we are okay. So we don't think we have to run at level with others, just like the way the Europeans are doing, the Asians are doing, competing head on with each other, because this person wants to prove that the other person that no, his system is better. The other country wants to prove to the other that no, his system is rather better. So there's competition, and they're always trying to do their best, and then go over their limits. So we tend not to have that mindset, because our minds are not competitive. Even in our neighboring African countries, when you look at Burkina Faso, you look at Togo, you look at Ivory Coast, there is no connection of competitiveness. There is no competition. It should be in such a way that each country will try to outperform the other, so that there is a boost in our morale, a boost in our economy, a boost in our production, a boost in everything. So, just as in schools, when you are learning and then you are doing quizzes and examination, you want to compete with your friends so that at least you become better. You get a good score or good marks in the examination. Same way, with the country citizens, you have to be able to have that mindset of competition. See, so we compete locally, we compete with our neighboring countries, and then we compete with the globe. When other nations are shipping their products to other nations, showing them that, oh, this is what we have been able to produce. We should also be proud to ship something out. We should also be able to show that, no, we have done something, that's what we can produce. You see, and that kind of worth or that kind of value will come to us, and it's going to raise our self-esteem. In fact, self-esteem is very important in the life of every nation's citizens. So when they travel out, they go anywhere, they are being recognized. They are being seen as people who are productive and full of value. Okay. So with that said, we go to point 11, and that is maintaining standards. Maintaining standards. Now, let me take my time and then break this down very well, so that you can all understand this important point. Over the years, it's very obvious that we're falling short of our societal values. We're falling short of our moral values. We're falling short of even our skill set. Okay, so when you take our religious backgrounds, the kind of richness and then the kind of training, the kind of teaching that we got earlier is being diluted and diluted and diluted, and as at now you can't get a grasp of what our values really stand for. So as time goes on, we are losing the values, we are losing the standards of our religious practices. At first, your teachings will tell you that this is the way you should dress, this is what you should wear, this is what you shouldn't wear, this is how you should behave, this is how you should talk. Okay, but as time goes on, these values are being diluted because we have failed to maintain standards. So it's very important to have a set standards that you always reset yourself to. Okay, you have to get a prototype. If it's a measurement that you are carrying out, you have to have a standard rule which doesn't change in its value, because as time goes on, there's an expansion and there's what contraction, and so you eventually lose the real measurement of your metrics. You have to have a very standard one that is not affected by weather or anything else, that you can always go back to and then retake that standard. That's what we must do to our systems. Our educational system too has to be done the same way. We don't have to fall short of standards. Our human skills, the human resource skills, should always be on standard or improved, but not to fall short of standards. If you were producing metals yesterday, if you had a factory that was producing metals years back, by now you should be having factories that produces cars from these metals. So we have advanced. If you have not advanced, then the factory that are producing the metals should still be producing the metals. But when those factories are broken down and dissolved, it means you have what? Fallen short of your standards. So it's good to walk forward and not in reverse. And that's what you should try to avoid if you want to initiate to what really improve. And that brings us to our last point. That is the point 12, and that is self-discipline. You heard me right? Self-discipline. So I believe we've all heard, as we are growing up, discipline. Discipline is something that is most at times neglected, but a very crucial part of every person's life and every society. Every person needs discipline. Without discipline, it's impossible to achieve your goals. We said, don't do A. You don't have to do A. Don't do B. You don't have to do B. This is and this and this is what you must do to achieve that. You have to go by the process. So when somebody old enough to be, I would say, an adult, okay, you sweep your house, you wake up in the morning, you sweep your house, you collect the rubbish in the house, and you have a bin in your house, and you put the rubbish in the bin with the aim of keeping your room neat. And this same person registers up and goes to town. When he goes to town, he buys the food, and right after eating, throws the rubbish around and start moving. Such a person, what do you think might be wrong? This person woke up and swept his house, but this person is not having the discipline to keep the city clean. You see, we have to change, we have to revolutionize the way we think. And let's not say that this is not mine, so I don't care. We empower home. No. You have to care about everything. You have to take away the spirit of I don't care. That I don't care spirit. You have to take it out. You have to be responsible for everybody. If you are the president of the country, you have to be responsible for the layman in the country. And if you are the layman in the country, you also have to be responsible for the president. Let the left hands bow the right hand bow the left. So you can't leave anybody out. Okay? When we go to school, you teach us about cleanliness. You go to school and you sweep the school compound, you tidy up the place, go and sit in the classroom and learn. When you close and you are going home from school, then we begin to litter the environment. What is the problem? We're not being disciplined. The discipline is out. We are only learning as an activity sake, but not for a lifestyle. That's the problem. We are learning as an activity. We are learning as a programming, but we are not living it as a lifestyle. So whatever we learn in our educational institutions, whatever we learn in our homes, whatever we learn anywhere else, we have to do our best to apply it. Even if nobody is doing it, you stand out and do it. Stand out and uphold it. Stand up and prove that no, you are self-disciplined. If everybody is taking the money before they employ you for the job, if everybody is taking the money before they employ others for the job, stand out and say no. Right? So I think with these steps that have been laid down, if everybody should grab a piece of this, if not all, we grab a piece and we master it, we grab a piece and we improve on it, eventually we are going to get to a state whereby everybody is cohesed. We get to a point whereby everybody has gotten to that level where the country can thrive. Okay, so I believe you've gotten everything well, and please be the first person to put your comments in the comment section. Tell me what you think about this video. Give me your point. If you have any more to add, please add it and share it to others and subscribe as well. I'll be back with my next videos in my next session. Okay, I'll say peace and bye bye.